What is up everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Real Time with Dan. And today, have I got some news for you. We have got stories to tell, news to feed, and things to say. And now that I turn myself back, I'm actually now thinking, what the hell did I just say? But you know what? Let's just roll with it. It sounded better in my brain. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump straight in. Well, first things we know is that Osh, the one who I've actually been talking to now for quite some time, the original Flipper Ashford uploader, if I want to call him that, no name calling intended, but he has announced that he's actually going to not do Fortnite content anymore. Now, this is quite interesting because he started doing Fortnite content maybe about a year or two into his YouTube channel. Now, that's nothing to be ashamed of, and the fact is, Fortnite, in all honesty, is dying. I think Fortnite is actually beginning to be killed off in all fairness. This is the thing though, when gaming platforms start to die off, it shows that people don't really have a lot of interest in it. It's becoming an old trend. It was just like when we started with the bottle flips. That was a trend that lasted maybe a good year or two, and then eventually people just went, yeah, it's not really going to help anyone. It's not going to cure any sort of tropical disease, and it's not exactly going to be benefiting anyone. It only just means you're a show-off. And Fortnite is none too similar. If you're good at Fortnite, then yes, you're good at Fortnite, but it's not exactly going to be benefiting anyone. And if the game itself is not getting that much more support and it's going to be interfered with hackers, then it shows that in reality the game itself is dying off. And no wonder Osh is not feeling really into it anymore, and sometimes it can get boring. So I don't blame him. I have got no issue with Osh wanting to take this upon himself. But this is the thing, when you are doing YouTube, you have to really find your niche quite quick, and it's even me, I haven't really found my niche yet. I'm still wondering what it is, but I just really want to be entertaining. And anyway, that's enough about me. But this is the other thing. Osh recently, his YouTube channel got hacked, and this was quite shocking actually, because the first thing I thought was, oh, is he having a rebrand, or is something going on here? And well, see, I don't know. And the first thing I thought was, something's a bit off here. Second thing I thought, oh no, the worst might have happened. But then the third thought was, I don't know, maybe it is not so bad after all. Because his channel went from being called Osh to Easy Cheat. I think that's what they called themselves. And that's the thing. It was like, that just seemed very baited to being like just a hack. It just looked incredibly convincing that I was not convinced that was Osh. So yes, Osh had the scare of his life, but thankfully the damage was very minimal. It was one video that was uploaded, just a little Fortnite montage. I reckon it was some people that didn't like the fact that he was quitting Fortnite footage. Now again, quitting might be putting it a bit bluntly. He might be laying back on the Fortnite. He could be going into other things besides. And who knows what could happen. Maybe he might work with someone, but who knows? We shall see. But this brings me back to my point about finding a niche. You have to make sure you come into YouTube with an open mind. You don't want to be going into YouTube focusing on one thing in particular. Just lay it out onto like a spreadsheet and think about it, or lay it out into like a bubble graph. That's a better way of looking at it, because YouTube is a big community, and the community can expand in all areas, and there's always room for one extra person, as I should have known all those years ago. Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, which is the upcoming fight. In my eyes, I don't see really why that's going ahead. It's such a weird fight. Like, why is that happening? Because Logan Paul has not beaten anyone yet. And I mean no one. Jake Paul's beaten plenty of people. He's beaten Deji, he's beaten Gibb, he's beaten Ben Askren, and now Logan Paul is fighting with a 0-1-1 record. And I just don't get it, because Floyd Mayweather has yet to be beaten. I think he's had over 50 wins and no losses or draws. So I really can't see why this is going to go ahead, because KSI beat Logan Paul. He drew against him and he won against him. So it's just such a weird fight. I have to be brutally honest. it's a fight that I think is going to be fairly interesting. Because if Logan actually did win, I would be pretty shocked, because the thing is, Floyd Mayweather is in a different league to KSI. Of course he is. He's been in the game far longer than KSI. And it shows, because he's had no losses. Like over 50 wins. So why the hell is Logan fighting him? It doesn't make any sense. But I suppose that's what happens when you want to go into the big leagues. You have to fight against big league fighters. But still, it's all to play for. It could go either way. I mean, Logan could actually come out victorious, but I say could. Not he will. My prediction is that Floyd will be the winner, because of course the stats and all the statistics are fully supportive of that. You know, 0 losses, can't complain with that. Logan Paul hasn't won yet. So, who knows? Who knows? We shall see. We shall see, Logan. And I suppose all I can really say is good luck with that one. Anyway, so another thing I thought I'd discuss is in reference to, well, a bit of a funny thing. It's actually my lens collection. And I know this is not exactly very relatable to my content, but I thought I'd share a little story. Well, basically, the lens I'm shooting on right now is the 20mm Sigma Art f1.4 lens, the lens I absolutely adore. Probably my favourite lens of all time, if not the second. I mean, who knows? I don't know, but still, it's a favourite. And basically, I recently then showed you a little bit of an unboxing, one-handed, of my 105mm Sigma macro lens. That lens itself was of course bigger, and the pouch itself was bigger. So let me just do a little size comparison. This is the pouch I'm going to show you. This is the pouch for the Sigma 20mm, and I thought that was a big pouch, because of course Canon lenses don't really come in a pouch. They come in a box, and then you have to store them away in a bag. Fair dues. The Sigma lenses, they actually give you like a pouch option, or it's essentially a way of transporting this safely. It's very nice of them as well. But you saw how big that one was. That one was actually not that bad. Maybe about the same size, or about the size you would probably consider wanting to store like maybe a single can of Coke or Fanta or whatever. This is the macro lens one, and I just think, God almighty, that's big enough for a sports bottle drink. I mean, that's pretty big. I mean, it's big in the sense because, again, it's a macro lens. It's going to be bigger, and that's the problem, because macro lenses are not exactly small these days. You can get fairly small macro lenses. My 24mm f2.8 is technically a macro lens, but I don't use it for that. That's for if I'm doing shots like this, and I just needed something slightly more zoomed in. But today, I needed a faster aperture. Until we get to another lens I bought, which is the Sigma 150 to 600, and you're probably going to be in for a shock. Like, you thought that one was bigger. I'm going to try and pick this up without dropping it, and oh god, yeah. So this thing, I honestly am thinking you could probably compare this to a newborn baby. It's huge, and it weighs a ton. I'm not even joking. Right now, I'm actually struggling to hold it. It's huge. Essentially, a super telephoto zoom lens. And the reason I bought this one is for two reasons. First of all, I didn't really have a lens that reached past 105, obviously, with the macro lens. This goes all the way to 600, but because I have a crop sensor camera, that goes out even further, so I get even more range. And the reason for that is I'll be able to hopefully start photographing the moon. So I'll show you some shots with the macro lens, of course, very nice and zoomed in, and of course with the macro you get super shallow depth of field, really nice crisp background. But this lens right here is actually for photographing the moon, but this is the real problem. About 2 weeks ago, we had a super moon, and then we had a pink moon directly after, and both times I failed miserably, and that's because I didn't even have this lens. I've only had this lens for about a week. The macro lens I've had maybe about a week and a half. Even that was no good. Even on my ADD, my crop sensor ADD just couldn't pick it up. it was still a little dot, and I'm sure I'll try and show you some shots of me trying to get it even on a 50mm. It just was, you could barely understand what was going on. You couldn't tell where it was, you couldn't tell exactly if it was in focus. It was absolutely hopeless. But fair to say, I mean, photographing things nowadays, especially with a macro lens, has been pretty interesting. There's no way I'll be shooting video on it quite so much. I may do, but again, more of a photographer's lens, and also not super expensive. I was considering that or the Canon official version, but the Canon official version to start off with, I think the first one was about maybe 500, and then the L series was going upwards of about 800 to 900, maybe even into 1,000. And I thought, no thank you. I think I'm going to stick with the Sigma, because the Sigma is about half the price of the L series, maybe even more, maybe even about a third of the price. And it does have some optical IS, which is very important, because holding it steady on a crop sensor DSLR with no image stabilization in the camera is impossible. If someone does have any tips, I mean, of course you can use a tripod, but handheld, it's very tricky. Anyway, so I think that's going to wrap up today's episode, but of course, you know, it was pretty brief. I know, I understand, sorry. I did say it would be an exciting episode. There were some things I have left out, but hopefully you'll understand. So yeah, in the future, I am hopefully going to be getting some more videos out. Next week, I actually have got some exciting stuff coming. Not going to be doing an official reveal, but I may as well just let you know that that's happening. I've got some stuff coming up. Anyhow, so if you have enjoyed this video, be sure you hit the like button. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe down below and smash the bell icon. Go and check out my socials, they'll be down below in the description. And if you've done all that, then take great care, and I will see you all in the next one.